say whatever you want to say, and you have a 5-minute time limit to address the council. Please provide your name and address.
I should know it by now.
And that's for the record.
I know. My name is Lindsay Holleran. I live at 8 Flagler Street in Morristown, New Jersey. Now, oh my goodness, one big issue with this project that we face, I feel, is being segregated from the area that we currently depend on. You would be taking away our affordable eateries. They're practically the only affordable establishments this town has. The average income where I live is $24,000 a year, which is a drop in the bucket to most of you, respectfully. I am a mother of 8, with 5 children still at home, putting 2 through college and trying to raise 3 in this beautiful town, in a wonderful community that claims to be stigma-free, at the same time pushing the poor out using gentrification. And there are plenty more families that are just like mine, that live in all of this community. How do you expect us to feel welcome in our own neighborhood if we can't even afford to step into these proposed boutique establishments? To say that this will attract Class A tenants implies that people like me aren't Class A tenants just because we all are in a different tax bracket than you. Now I want to address the roundabout. We all do realize we live in a state that's known for the worst drivers in the United States, correct? Yes. My concern, there's a million concerns. I know it's going to be 15 to 20 miles an hour, but if we just look at reality, people will be doing 25 to 30. Phil, this is something that I wanted to say to you personally. I am sorry. I am sorry for being unfair and coming at you the way I did. And I am an adult, and I feel that I was wrong. But if you were to come into my world through my eyes and my life and stand in my shoes and look at it from my point of view, not a development, not a real estate, not a money point of view, you would see what I see and feel the empathy and sadness that we all feel. Now, you brought up that you guys did community outreach. I just found out about this through the grapevine at the first meeting that we all met. So what outreach was done? Because nobody sent a survey, nobody came knocking on my door. This room is filled with town people from the 2nd Ward that just found out about it through word of mouth of me. Now, with all due respect to Councilwoman Davis, I just happened to, like I said, to hear about this project through the grapevine. And given that you haven't been a part of this whole process, starting with the first public workshop on June 27th, I am asking you, woman to woman, to please do something great for this community that you have done so much for and loved so much for, and vote no or remain absentee in the vote. Now, for the record, in my community, I am the minority, so I feel entitled to say I do feel like this is white privilege. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Hello, my name is Kavita Gayla. I just came to say that I just found out about it through the article. And I feel that...
You gotta put your address.
Your address.
Sorry.
Oh, I live at 81 Western. And I just wanted to say, I don't talk this, I'm like nervous, but I just want to say that I feel that this is really heartless for the poor people. Like, we don't have money, and this town is like full of rich people, and I just feel like it's heartless. Like, we don't have a 7-Eleven anymore, we don't have a Burger King anymore. Like, our Molnars, like, where are they gonna go? And I just feel like this is really heartless, and I just wanted to say my opinion. DJ, spell A-D-I-J-A, Gaylord.
Any other members of the public wishing to be heard on this evening?
Good evening. My name is Steven Zaklagevich. 20 Condit Place in Morristown. Thank you once again for the fourth or fifth time for the opportunity to speak to you guys. It's a privilege to be heard on this. I think everybody here agrees this is a monumental project that's going to affect a lot of people in every single neighborhood in Morristown. And it's going to affect a lot of people who've been here a lot longer than I've been here. And I'm just still not certain that the council is paying complete attention to the folks here who really have the most to lose if this development is approved. And as we've been going forward, there's been a lot of information from traffic, from planning, and from the developer themselves. A lot of information has been given to us, but I would ask that you respectfully, I submit respectfully that all that information really doesn't meet the standard, I think, that's required for approval of this project, namely traffic. There's been, everybody's been focusing on this roundabout, that this is going to solve all of our problems, that it's going to solve all the Morris Street corridor problems. I submit to you that if this project is approved with, as the town planner has told you, the hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds of employees to a heretofore unannounced tenant. Do we even have a tenant? Do we have a contract tenant for this facility? But I digress. The hundreds of tenants that are going to be coming into our town, I don't think that's been adequately addressed given the already overwhelming traffic conditions that we have on Speedwell, on Ridgedale, on MLK, on Lafayette, on Mount Kimball, that are already almost unmanageable every morning and every evening. And now you're being asked to say, okay, here come 700 new employees, 700 new workers into this development. I might even be understating the number of employees that you have told us that we're going to be having to endure. In addition, has the council taken into account the 150 residences at the Menon property? Has the council taken into account the 92, if I'm wrong, I don't think I'm overstating it by too much, the 92 residences at the train station that you guys recently approved? And at the same time eliminating public parking for train commuters. And have you also considered the regional development approvals in Morris Plains, where there's over 500 new homes that are being built on Route 53? I asked Brian, who's not here tonight, I missed last night's meeting, I apologize, but I asked Brian, have you guys considered all that? And he, without specifics, he said, well, you know, the developer's project, or the developer's traffic man analyzed regional development without any specifics. These issues are vital, not just to the Morris Avenue corridor, but to the entire town from north to south, from east to west. If these people, if these employees are going to be coming in to work at the new office building, how is our infrastructure going to sustain that? I don't think you guys have adequately addressed that. So we've said it over and over again, the loss of all this affordable retail is horrible. I know that a few of the council members have put forth very extensive questions that they intend upon asking the developer at future meetings about how we can maybe protect them. But at this stage, I would say the main focus about the traffic impact upon Morristown has been inadequately addressed, and I think that you should reject the developer's traffic study as it exists right now. Thank you very much.
Any other members of the public wishing to be heard? I'll start with this gentleman and then you.
Good evening, council. My name is Otto Sarnes. I live at 35 Pine Street. First, I just wanted to start by expressing gratitude for the way this has been playing out, for the developer's willingness to engage in such a public process, including the open letter I saw today on Greg's website, along with the planning board, mayor, and council for working to protect the public's interest. I'd also like to commend every single person brave enough to voice their opinions, favorable or otherwise. With that being said, I'm also sorry to be critical of a project that's come this far and has so many valuable resources behind it. While I've had several conversations with people whose opinion I trust to allay the concerns of potential taxpayer burden associated with this development, there are some basic truths that I'd like to make public. I was born here 31 years ago, Morristown Memorial Hospital. I grew up in Roxbury, where the Ledgewood Circle reigned supreme for so long. Prior to being replaced, before I was old enough to actually drive it, but I did experience the circle and how it benefited small businesses in that. Fast forwarding to the age of 26, my loving mother politely asked me to leave the house where I grew up. Obamacare kicked me off of her insurance, and suddenly it felt like a crime to be in my mid-20s. In any case, I knew Morristown was where I wanted to live, work, and play. Luckily, I found an apartment on Pine Street. This would be my 5th year as a Morristown resident. While the main motivation in moving to Pine Street was being close to the green, I'd be lying to say that the strip mall wasn't another motivating factor. Now faced with the reality of its impending non-existence, to be replaced by the hustle and bustle of construction machinery before the final project is finished, it would be hypocritical for me not to say anything. My hope for this project is that the final design adheres to the Main Street feel described in the town's master plan, along with plentiful opportunities for small businesses, including those owned by women and minorities. I was glad to see the slide about the RDA and those opportunities may be available. One off-site improvement I would suggest is to look at a certain point on Mars Ave, Mars Street near Elm, where if you're walking in front of the train station, walking along the train station, I guess, the water wells up to such a degree that anybody who's using the roadway on a rainy day would likely never walk that sidewalk again and get drenched. So if the developer can consider that area of improvement. And I guess lastly, I just wanted to mention that I'm running for Morristown Council to represent the First Ward. I recorded a 15-minute video on the walk from Morristown Medical Center to the Town Hall, explaining why I'd like to run and represent residents and businesses in the First Ward. And if I'm successful on November 5th, and I look forward to working with the mayor and council to mitigate any potential problems that this project may bring. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman back to my right.
My name is Michael Day, and I'm the owner of Fatty's.
Yeah, like you said, Michael.
Michael Day,
And your address, please.
46 Morris Street. I'm the owner of Fatty's Restaurant. Fatty's has been open for 6.5 years. And prior to us opening, there was about 6 months where I had to figure it all out. I had to figure out where I was going to get my product, how it was going to look, what the menu was going to hold. And I did the most obvious thing. I got in my car and I drove down to the grease trucks in New Brunswick and I ordered one of everything. And I took it back to my house and I deconstructed it like a mad scientist at my dining room table, because my whole goal was to create a better product, a superior product. So instead of using 3-day-old bakery bread, I was going to bake my own bread. And instead of using a frozen puck of chicken-flavored mystery meat, I was going to serve fresh chicken to order with every sandwich. So I succeeded in all this, and we opened 6.5 years ago with great fanfare, and I got a very consistent piece of feedback from day one. Everybody looked at me and they said, "This is a great sandwich, but you'll never be the Grease Trucks, ever." They disappointed me and reprimanded me. "Don't try to replicate that, because you never will." So after about hearing this every single day for a year, it dawned on me that I never will be the Grease Trucks. Because for my customers, the Grease Trucks evoked emotion. It was emotion about their college experience that fatties could never replicate. And think about it. They party all day long. They end up at these Grease Trucks. They fire down a sandwich to absorb the hangover. And maybe if they got lucky, they would end up canoodling with the guy or the girl that they had their eye on all night long. So that's the emotions that it evoked. It was emotions that were carefully rationalized to resemble logic. If any of you asked me who's the greatest basketball player of all time, I'll tell you Michael Jordan. I couldn't name a single fundamental statistic that Michael possessed, but to me he's the greatest. If you Google Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he beats Michael in many statistical categories fundamentally. But you'll never convince me, because when I was 13 years old, I was huddled around the television, eating pizza with my friends, watching MJ crush it in the NBA Finals. And that's my emotion. It defies logic. So for some people, they get emotional about sandwiches in college. I get emotional about basketball. Some people get emotional about window shopping at Epstein's or sipping at Tom Collins at Cutter's Bar and Grill. But those establishments are gone. And Michael Jordan's retired, and the Grease Trucks have been displaced. It's emotion, carefully rationalized to resemble logic. I should be emotional about all this. I should be crucifying these guys. I should be calling them every name in the book. And I should be here, hat in hand on bended knee, begging you guys to stop this. But I'm trying to lead by example. I'm trying to let my logic prevail. I think one of the sickest games that life plays on us is that we're forced to live it forwards, but only understand it backwards. And because of that, it's very convenient, easy for anybody to get up here and compare this to something that they've seen in the past or experienced in the past. Everybody's an expert, but until the expertise is actually required. So since this is introduced to the public, I've heard a lot of emotion. How do I know? Because not a single person has stood up here with a marked up rendering to offer any sort of technical alternative to what we see. I think one of the worst things that's occurring in the United States right now is that we've begun to replace what works with what sounds good. And this administration, for the past 15 years, has been labeled pro-growth progressive. And all we have to do is walk out the front door to see all of it. The net positive effect is all around us. So I would like to implore you guys, let's leave the emotions outside, let's let logic prevail, and let's build this. Thank you.
large.
Margaret Brady, 1 Franklin Place. I wasn't going to speak until the gentleman from Batty spoke, and he reminded me of an old Chinese product that I followed for many, many years. The proverb that says, "He who only looks back has one blind eye, but he who only looks forward has 2 blind eyes." And I'm just not ready to present it yet because I didn't think it would do any good. But here's one of my marked up renderings. So many of us have considered other solutions, and we're not necessarily opposed to this project. We just want it to be the best it can be for Morristown, so that Morristown can be the best community for all of us. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more members of the public wishing to be heard at this time, I'd like to close the public hearing and make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion. Close
Second.
public hearing.
Morristown.